Well, great. It's great to be, after 2 years, it's good to be finally back on the road, and this is my first in-person conference now in 2 years, so it's, things are moving forward in a positive way. Just something, if you don't know who Cypress Development is, we are an advanced stage lithium company focused on developing our 100% owned Clayton Valley Lithium Project in Nevada to production. Why Cypress? Well, we are relatively de-risked and are currently at feasibility stage. We have a large land package, large resource, a proven technology that can extract lithium from clay, and actively have an active, fully permitted pilot plant facility. And most important, unlike other projects in Nevada, we have water, which is essential. Our objectives? Well, most of our objectives have been completed. It's been a very busy year for us. Earlier in the year, we successfully completed our $18.1 million offering, which helped increase our institutional base. We've expanded our lease for our pilot plant all the way to 2025. We've completed 3, 7, and 14-day continuous testing, achieved positive results, and commenced our feasibility study with Wood PLC. Our share structures, 140 million issued and outstanding, fully diluted about 170 million, giving us a market cap of roughly 300 million Canadian. Our cash position, where there's that 18.1 million that we brought in earlier in the year, add that to the 23 million that we had in the bank from Q3, gives us a rough treasury of $40 million, which allows us to be able to complete everything we set out for the next 24 months. I should point out here that we've got 2 sell-side analysts covering us, New York's Alliance Global Partners, and of course our very own Mark Reichman from Noble Capital. Lots of changes in the last year. We've really kind of transformed the board and management. I should point out here we have a new chair, Cassandra Joseph. She's a U.S. attorney with over 20 years experience in mining, environmental law, and corporate law. She's previously served as Senior Deputy Attorney General for the Nevada Attorney General's Office. The other people that have joined the board are Brian Disher and Ken Owen. We've got a new CFO, Bram Jonker, and myself. Everybody here in the board or in management has either, not only has direct experience in working in Nevada, but we've all have either worked for companies that are in production or taken projects to production. In 2017, the United States and Canada designated lithium as a critical mineral, assuring that its uses are for domestic markets and protecting it from foreign ownership. This is crucial because right now, as we know, most of the lithium around the world is being bought up by the Chinese, and only Canada and the United States, right? And if not, I should point out other countries are now. They're nationalizing their resources. I believe the other day the lower house in Mexico just passed a law to nationalize its lithium deposits that it has. So it's very important to the EV market, which is really growing in the last few years, that the United States and Canada are able to secure its own lithium and not be dependent on anybody else. Nevada. If you were to add up all the lithium that you have in Nevada, you would get a resource which is probably second only to Bolivia, which is the world's largest lithium country. And it's only now that the United States is starting to move towards production. And when you look at Nevada, you can see right away that Cypress Development is in the top 5 most advanced projects. And what do they say about real estate? Location, location, location. So when you look at us, we've got great location. We're halfway between Las Vegas and Reno. Our project is situated adjacent to Albemarle Silver Peak brine operation, which is the United States' only lithium producing mine. and it's been around for over 50 years. But we're also about 300 kilometers or a 3-hour drive away from Tesla's gigawatt factory. Our pilot plant, it's big. It's one of the largest in the world. It's over 1,200 square feet. It's fully permitted, which allows us to continue testing for all the way up to 2025. So we're able to test and refine our product right to the time we want to move into production. This is key because other companies around Nevada are also now just starting to build pilot plants. But if it takes 6 to 8 months to build one, it'll take at least a year to permit it. Ours is fully permitted, up and running, which is very, very important, which a lot of people kind of bypass. Big resource, very large resource of over 1.3 billion tons, of which we only need a small portion of that to achieve a 40-year plus mine life in producing 30 tons per year of lithium carbonate at a rate of 15,000 tons per day. Deposit features, I mean, when you look at our deposit, it's lying on the bottom or on the surface of a dried up lake. So it's essentially flat. It's a very flat-lying deposit, minimal overburden, so it's easy to take out. Very, very simple. Cost-effective. In 2020 and amended in 2021, we had completed a pre-feasibility study. We should point out here that it had an IRR of 26% with a net present value of over $1 billion. But the base case price we used for lithium carbonate was at $9,500. Lithium carbonate today, the spot price is trading around $85,000 to $90,000 per ton, which is crazy, right? It's a very thinly traded market. But I should point out that contracts are being completed roughly around, or being signed around $20,000 to $30,000 per ton, which is probably what we're going to be using for our feasibility study. So if you were to just use your imagination here, add in, replace $9,500 per ton lithium carbonate to say $20,000 per ton, increase our capex from $500 million to say 20% that, make it $700 million, your NPV could be potentially over $2 billion, right? So we're very, very excited and really look forward to our feasibility study results, which should be out by end of Q4 or beginning of Q1 of next year. Plant design, well, everything, you can see we have a huge property, so everything fits nice and tight inside, right? I should point out here that the idea is to build a plant where we use conveyor belts to be able to take the rock from the pit right to the plant. This is a very efficient way for us to operate, and thus allows us to reduce our carbon footprint and potentially use renewable energy, such as solar, if not geothermal. And you remember, we are in Nevada, so you've got the sun, and you might as well use it to your advantage. Our pre-feasibility study that we completed last year was designed to use sulfuric acid. So the price of sulfur has gone up about 3 times over the past 2 years or so. Our new processing options our process design has moved towards hydrochloric acid. It's now, if we switch to hydrochloric acid, it's a greener and potentially less expensive processing way to process lithium. In the end, we have easier filtration, which gives us better washing of our tailings, and more importantly, we use less water, which is very, very vital in Nevada. And by the way, I should point out, when I talk about water, it's not fresh water that we use, it's brine water. So we're not taking water away from farms or communities. That brine water is not drinkable. The plant design, configuration, very simple. As you see, it's easy to scale up. Nothing here is new. It's all been used before. It's not unique to us only. It's a very simple design. Objectives: continue to optimize our lithium extraction, optimize our costs, and on and are about a month or 2 months away from producing a high-quality lithium product. Results today from our 24-hour operation have achieved, successfully created a solution containing 2,700 parts per million lithium, achieved good extraction and leaching, and our lithium extraction rate from ion exchange is over 98%. So we're really, really, really pleased with the results that we put out early last month. Some photos of the pilot plant, and these are our bags that we use for testing. Each bag weighs about a ton. We put that through the plant. We have our own assay lab. We're able to immediately check to see what our results look like. And then, of course, when we send them off to the ALS labs in Vancouver, Canada, we're able to kind of see what the differences are and adjust our operations so we match. ESG. It's the ESG values are at the core of who we are. We've already completed our initial baseline studies. The idea is to build a mine which minimizes environmental impact and are looking for renewable energy such as solar and geothermal to help us minimize that impact. So, summary, we're advanced stage with a large resource, have water, strong cash position, experience management, a permitted and active pilot plant, and a very good location. Our catalyst to continue to support our feasibility study with our pilot plant results, complete our feasibility by the end of the year, if not the beginning of 2023, and produce in the next coming months a final lithium product that we can take to market. So in the end, we're the right commodity at the right time in the right jurisdiction. Great, thank you. Questions? Mark. Sure. Yeah, that's actually a really good question. Lithium extraction or there are three kinds of lithium deposits in the world: brine operations, which predominantly in Latin America, and hard rock spodumite, which is predominantly, we can say, in Australia. And then there's clay. There are currently no clay producing mines in the world. The handful of potential producers all are in clay are all in Nevada. Some are permitted, like Lithium America. Others have pilot plants, like we do, and we're moving towards that. Problem with brine and hard rock, they're good. Hard rock can be very expensive because you have to break a lot of rock and truck it. But brine has an environmental disadvantage because you need to have huge pools of water that take 10, 15 years to slowly evaporate to get that out. So your cost is up, your process is really long, and it's not the best way to, most efficient way to get lithium out. So where we're moving, and like other companies are moving, is towards clay, which is what the US has. And the idea is to bring clay projects into production, which are environmentally safer, and our cost is a lot cheaper. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Sorry, can you say that again? I'm sorry.
You have the sample of the electric vehicles.
Yes.
It's going to be like a big, because right now there are these
Correct.
You know, the companies are going, I think they were saying for 2006 or 7, they are speeding the process of build electric cars as fast as they can
Yeah.
to avoid that. But then, how you gonna cover that? So you're gonna be high.
Well, yeah, I mean, the world is changing, right? There's always going to be a combustion engine. That's not going anywhere. I mean, and Elon Musk said that a few months ago as well. Let's not kid ourselves. But, well, yeah, lithium, I mean, like battery metal cars or EV cars are the way of the future, probably predominantly towards city centers. I read yesterday or the day before that Volkswagen is set to surpass Tesla in electric cars. It will cease producing a combustion engine and strictly just become an electric vehicle. Yeah, but you're seeing, yeah, that's the way the world's moving. You know, I've got two young boys, 12 years old. They're twins. And, you know, when I was a kid their age, I wanted a Ferrari, I wanted a Porsche, I wanted to be in a McLaren, the big, hefty, big car. My kids want Teslas, right? To them, and they're probably going to be driving an electric vehicle. A lot of people in our generation, some of them have moved towards that, but a lot of people are kind of comfortable being in a combustion engine. But the next generation, and it's changing fast, for ethical reasons, and really it's just a great car. Moving towards an electric vehicle is just the reality. And this is why Canada and the United States have made lithium a critical mineral to make sure that the United States and Canada has sufficient lithium to supply its cars for its for its industry. So we're not dependent on foreign companies or countries, and that's really China, who's bought everything in Africa and everything in Latin America. Right? So the U.S. is very far behind, and it's just moving forward now. So there's lots of grants out there, loans. They're really initial, and it's going, from Republican to Democrats. They're both moving forward and getting and helping us kind of move towards getting these projects into production. Right? We just hope that the permitting moves as fast as possible, because it's still a 2-year process. We'd like to see that speed up. Oh, first, okay, go ahead.
You'll have your first product available on the second quarter. How quickly can you ramp revenue? What's the gating factor in your growth from that point forward?
Yeah, so the idea right now is to produce a lithium product that we can then take to be it Tesla or Ford or General Motors or BMW or whoever, and show them kind of what we have for potential partners, etc., or offtake agreements or what have you. We'll be commencing permitting this summer. So permitting, give that 15 to 18 months, they say, so make it 2 years from permitting. So 2025 should be hypothetically fully permitted. At that particular point, we'll be able to make a production decision, right? So the idea now is to complete the feasibility study, realize how much the costs are going to be, if it's going to be $600, $700 million to bring the project into production, what lithium price we'll be using, get all the essential, getting a strong understanding of the financial requirements to bring this project into production, and then be in production the goal is by 2025.
Plenty of potential customers.
Yeah, there's plenty, and again, and partnerships are everywhere. Like in partnerships in lithium are your car companies, Tesla, potentially Albemarle, General Motors. You've got Microsoft investing in it. You've got it's Koch brothers. There's partnership is very, very wide range.
The bulk of the product lithium is coming from foreign markets.
Right now, it's coming from foreign markets, yeah. Latin America, Australia, which is China, right, which is all basically Chinese. All right, and we know if there's ever a conflict, it's going to be tough to find a new product from somewhere else.
Chris, do you want to talk a little bit about the water rights? It's one that I think Bill was talking about on the last webinar, potential to do some JVs with neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, well, first of all, let's take a step back. Nevada, it's a desert, it's dry. You can see here, this is actually sitting in our deposit. The little white stuff that you see, this is the bottom of a lake, right? That's your clay. That's where the lithium is, right there on this light colored part. So it's pretty barren. So in order to bring this project into production, right, you need to have water. And there's a lot of companies that have resources. Some of them have lots of overburden. Some of them are inside of a mountain. Some of them, they're all different. Ours is flat, and it's easy to extract. Now, water is a necessity. There's only a handful of companies that have access to that. And last December, we successfully achieved a permit that gives us enough water to be able to produce what we need to take this project towards production. But that being said, our neighbor just over these little mountains here is Albemarle. Albemarle is like I said, it's a brine operation, the Silver Peak operation. It's the oldest producing mine in the United States, over 50 years old, and it has brine water. So that would make, as a partner, would be perfect for us, right? So as I say to people, like, technically, yeah, we're in the friend zone. Now, being in the friend zone is great. Now, getting out of the friend zone and creating a real relationship, that's the next process. So obviously, that would be a natural partner. We'd love to see that. But there's potentially, like I said, Tesla's 3-hour drive away. And partners could be General Motors, could be Chrysler, it could be really anybody at this point in time right now. So the market's kind of, you got to step back too, because the brine companies in the world and the hard rock companies in the world, they go up to guys like Mark here and say, oh, stay away from these clays. They'll never work, right? Just keep giving us the capital to help us with our projects. But the reality is, no, things are changing. I mean, clay, extraction from clay is reality. It's being done, right? We just haven't moved to production. And be it us or companies like Lithium America or Ioneer, one of us is going to move towards production very, very soon. And that's a game changer. And we hope, we're not permitted. Lithium America is permitted, but our plant is bigger and more active, so we're kind of in a race, but whoever wins, it's a win-win for everybody, right?
What's the environmental impact and, after you use the clay to reverse the areas and the units?
Yeah, so we take the rock out, we put it on conveyor belts. The idea is to power, there's no big trucks, no haulage, right? So your carbon footprint is minimal. The idea is to use solar energy, if not geothermal. We have some potential geothermal ground that's very close to our project. And it's to move everything there. Then you extract the lithium. The rock then becomes what we call dry stacking. So it's basically sits on the project. It's dry, it's clean, and it's going to be 98, 99% lithium free. And the idea is eventually to put it back in the ground. So.
In a different area?
No, it'd be the same, yeah. It all gets reclaimed back. Everything goes, whatever we take out comes back. We have to make sure that there's no, the key thing is that you got to make sure there's no, unique animals or habitats or plants that live there. That's all being done. So the idea is to have as minimal impact as possible. We've done archaeological work. There's no First Nations that were living there. There's no great famous battles that achieved there which are important. That's been done before, right? So we have to make sure everything is clean. So we're in a great location. Great. I've been told I've run out of time, so thank you everybody for this opportunity. And if you want more, I'll just be outside. Great.